Welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to share this one with you because we're tackling something literally almost every single one of us has struggled with at some point. Look, we've all been handed that golden rule of rest. Just get your 8 hours of sleep and you'll wake up feeling fantastic, right? But let's be totally honest here. How many times have you done exactly that? Maybe even slept for 9 hours and you still end up dragging yourself out of bed feeling like you're moving through wet concrete. You went to bed early, you followed the rules, and yet you wake up feeling like a zombie who just ran a marathon. You're exhausted, groggy, totally brained, all while you're watching a friend who somehow slept for 6 hours bounce into the kitchen with boundless natural energy. It is universally frustrating.
So what does this all mean? Why do those 9 hours feel like they did absolutely nothing for you? Well, most people think it's just a lack of willpower or bad genetics. Actually, scratch that. We usually just tell ourselves we aren't wired to be a morning person. So we torture ourselves. We try forcing these early wake-ups, hitting snooze a dozen times, just absolutely dreading the alarm. We get so hyper-focused on the physical act of waking up early, but early and exhausted, that just feels like a punishment. It's heavy, it's forced, and it's miserable. We really need to shift our focus entirely here. We shouldn't be trying to just wake up early. We need to focus on waking up clear.
So the crucial point is this. Early and exhausted is a daily uphill battle. But early and clear, that feels like control. It feels automatic and super energetic. And the science reveals something that a lot of standard sleep advice completely ignores. Your morning alertness is not about sheer willpower. It's like a giant puzzle, and it depends almost entirely on aligning three interconnected biological systems: your cognitive safety system, your sleep cycle rhythm, and your circadian master clock. When even one of these systems is out of whack, you're going to wake up tired no matter how long you laid in that bed. But when they sync up, waking up becomes completely effortless.
Okay, let's dive into this chronologically. Believe it or not, your morning resistance actually begins the night before, with something called open loops. You know when your mind is carrying around unfinished thoughts, scattered attention, or incomplete tasks right into your bed? Well, your brain interprets these as open loops. And biologically speaking, open loops equal uncertainty. To your primitive survival brain, uncertainty means potential danger. So, because of this perceived threat, your brain acts as a protective mechanism and actively delays full wakefulness the next morning. It's basically screaming, "Whoa, don't wake up yet, there's unmanaged chaos out there."
To disarm that protective mechanism, you need a deliberate, nightly shutdown sequence. It's not just a nice, relaxing routine, it's a specific set of actionable steps to signal absolute safety to your brain. First, write down every unfinished thought. Just get it out of your head and onto paper. Second, decide what actually matters for tomorrow so there is zero morning ambiguity. Like, pick the top 2 tasks you absolutely must conquer tomorrow and physically write them down. Third, prepare your physical environment. Set out your clothes, clear off your desk, that sort of thing. When you do this, you are actively telling your brain that the chaos is managed. The uncertainty disappears, and your brain is going to stop delaying your morning activation.
Now, once you're actually asleep, we run into the biggest misconception of the whole shebang. Chasing that rigid 8-hour rule is absolutely a common mistake. Biological alignment is all about timing your sleep cycles, not maximizing total hours. You see, sleep is not just this flat, uniform state where you lie there and suddenly wake up. If your alarm clock rudely cuts through a deep phase of sleep, which is the phase where your brain is actively consolidating memories and repairing your body, it's literally like unplugging a computer right in the middle of a major software update. You crash. You don't wake up clean. That is exactly what causes that heavy, disoriented feeling, even if you've been in bed for exactly 8 hours.
So the magic number you really need to care about here is 90. Sleep operates in distinct cycles, and each cycle typically lasts about 90 to 110 minutes. During a single cycle, your brain moves through lighter stages of sleep, dips way down into deep restorative sleep, and then eventually comes back up into lighter sleep again, which, by the way, is also when most of your dreaming occurs. The goal is to always wake up at the end of a cycle during that light sleep phase.
This means we need to do some biological math. Stop chasing 8 hours and look at these ideal durations instead. Most people thrive on either 6 hours, which is exactly 4 complete sleep cycles, 7.5 hours, which is 5 complete cycles, or 9 hours, which is 6 complete cycles. Notice anything missing? 8 hours isn't even on this list. The exact same 7.5 hours of sleep is going to feel entirely different than 8 hours if that 8-hour mark interrupts your deep sleep. So pick one of these cycle-based durations, use a simple sleep calculator to work backward from when you need to wake up, and treat that bedtime as absolutely non-negotiable.
All right, so you're sleeping in perfectly timed cycles now. But what is your brain doing right before you wake up? Well, it's running on scheduled chemistry. Your body operates on a highly predictable internal clock. Every single morning, your brain initiates a cortisol activation. Now, hold on, this isn't that nasty stress hormone spike you get when you're terrified. This is a highly functional activation chemical. It brings energy, focus, and readiness. In fact, incredible research from the University of Bristol and various peer-reviewed sleep studies show that this cortisol rise begins 1 to 2 hours before you even open your eyes. Your brain is literally scheduling your wake-up chemistry long before your alarm ever sounds.
But, here is the catch. That amazing pre-wake cortisol rise, it only happens if your wake time is predictable. If you have erratic wake times, say waking up at 7 a.m. on Monday, but then you sleep in until 9:30 a.m. on Saturday, and then it's 6:15 a.m. on Wednesday, your brain never locks in the schedule. It literally has no idea when to start the cortisol rise. Without that biological signal, your morning activation is random and it's weak. That's exactly why you feel like you're slowly drifting up in a dense fog. You must wake up at the exact same time every single day. Yep, even on weekends. You aren't doing it to fix today's energy, you're programming tomorrow's chemical activation.
And this brings us to the exact moment of waking up. Most of us, right, we rely on a blaring sound alarm while we stumble around in a totally dim room. But sound isn't your biological alarm clock. Light is. Specifically, the sharp transition from darkness to bright light is literally the only signal your brain actually trusts to confirm that the sleep period is fully over. When you wake up and stay in a dim room, maybe you close the blinds and just squint at your phone screen, your brain stays firmly in night mode. Melatonin, the sleep hormone, doesn't shut off, and that awesome cortisol we just talked about doesn't fully rise.
And this brilliantly illustrates why light is so absolutely crucial. It comes down to something called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. This is your brain's master clock. Your eyes contain these specialized photoreceptors that have a direct, hardwired line of communication right to this master clock. When these receptors detect real, bright light, they send an immediate message, hey, the external world says it's time to be awake, shut off the melatonin. This isn't just some lifestyle preference, it is hardwired biology. You need to expose your eyes to bright light, ideally real sunlight if you can, within the first 5 minutes of waking. No sunglasses, no dim rooms, just immediate light to flip that switch in your brain.
Okay, let's look at how beautifully this all syncs up in a seamless day-in-the-life timeline. It's pretty amazing. At 9 p.m., you execute your shutdown sequence, closing those open loops and telling your brain the chaos is officially managed. By 10:30 p.m., you initiate sleep, perfectly timed for 5 90-minute sleep cycles. Fast forward to 4:30 a.m., and while you are still completely sound asleep, your brain confidently begins its scheduled cortisol rise because it knows exactly when you'll be waking up. Finally, at 6 a.m., your sleep cycle naturally ends right as you open your eyes, and you immediately get bright light exposure to lock it all in. See? Everything just works together perfectly.
To make this incredibly easy to apply tonight, here is your super simple Waking Clear checklist. Number 1, execute a nightly shutdown sequence to completely clear your mind. Number 2, commit to a cycle-based sleep duration, whether that's 6, 7.5, or 9 hours. Figure out what works for you. Number 3, set a consistent daily wake time that does not change. Seriously, not even on weekends. And number 4, expose your eyes to bright light within 5 minutes of waking up. This is your biological blueprint. If you hit these 4 points, you are setting yourself up for some absolutely incredible morning clarity.
But there's one final hurdle, and it's actually right inside your own head. You could optimize your circadian rhythm, your light exposure, and your sleep cycles perfectly, but if you still walk around telling yourself, I'm just not a morning person, your identity is going to override your biology. Your brain protects your identity fiercely. If it senses a mismatch between your actions and your beliefs, you will unconsciously hit snooze just to prove yourself right. The fix here isn't to just try and think your way into being a morning person. Identity is built through repeated action. Execute these systems and actively track your morning energy. Keep a simple 1 to 10 energy log right on your nightstand to score exactly how you feel when you wake up. Let your brain biologically update its model of who you are based on that undeniable written proof.
So I want to leave you with this question to really chew on. What would your days actually look like if waking up early became completely automatic? When you stop trying to just force yourself awake and instead you remove the biological reasons your brain is actively delaying the morning, waking up early stops being a chore. There are no gimmicky hacks here, and you really don't need endless discipline. You just need alignment. I hope this explainer has given you the exact tools you need to align your biology tonight so you can wake up completely clear tomorrow.